Steffanie Rivers. Welcome to the conversation, kings and queens. As you're getting settled in, if you are new to the conversation, I want to say welcome. And if you are coming back for more talk, then I want to say welcome back. As I am getting ready to talk with you about something that I know you're going to want to hear about, get ready to like and share this video. I am simulcasting, or maybe you should even say, I should say try-casting on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn. So welcome to all people on the different platforms. I just want to ask you a question so we can get started. And that question is, have you ever met someone at a social gathering and started a relationship with them based off of limited information? Have you ever met somebody like at a concert or a friend's party or maybe even a nightclub? And based off of that limited information you received that night, you decided that you wanted to start a relationship with that person. Maybe you liked that they had nice white teeth, or you liked the way they were dressed, or the way they smelled. Maybe you liked the car that they drove, and you listened to them. You didn't really ask many questions, if any questions, and then you decided, though, you know what, this person could be the man or woman for me, and you got into a relationship with that person. But maybe not too long after that, you realized that this person, the car they were driving was borrowed. You realized the clothes they wore were borrowed. You realized that if they had a job, they just got the job. They never really have a career or a steady income. It was always, spotty as to if they even worked at all. And there were a lot of red flags, but you ignored those red flags and you kept going full steam ahead. Has it ever happened to you? Drop down in the comments and let me know if that's something that you experienced. And tell me, why did you start that relationship? I'm going to pose this question. Have you ever started a relationship with someone based off of limited information? And I guess we never really can have all the facts. You never really can have all the information, but at some point in life, you know that there are some things that you need to know about a person before you let them move in, before you let them meet your children, before you let them know some personal information about you. But you started this relationship, and then before you know it, a couple of weeks later, y'all had moved in together. And it was only after you moved in together that you realized this person might not be the best person for me. Maybe that took a few weeks, maybe that took a few months, but within due time, had you slowed down, had you asked the right questions, you might have realized that that person was not the right person for you early on instead of later on. Well, now you're moved in with the person, right? And now you realize, okay, this relationship was easier to get into, but it's harder to get out of. And now you find yourself trying to figure out how you're going to get out of this relationship. And the person, if you've ever tried to break up with somebody and you have legitimate reasons why they don't qualify to be in your life, they never really seem to admit or want to own up to the responsibilities of why the relationship isn't working. Everything that isn't working is somebody else's fault. Everything is working against them, not because of anything they did, but because what everybody else did. Well, now when you're trying to get that person out of your life, you realize that those intimate pictures that you took together, the intimate video, is now on social media. because now he or she is upset. Now they're showing everybody the photos that was supposed to be meant just for y'all. Maybe they caused you to have bad credit. Now they know the PIN number to your credit card, and you realize, okay, this is not going to end well. It's kind of like when they walk out the door, they do this to the table. They like, they take everything off the table as they're on the way out. I think this is the relationship that America has with Donald Trump. Because, and you know what, that reminds me, and I'm going to try to, I do a written version of my journal. So I'm going to tell you to check out my written journal about the one that I wrote about Donald Trump when he was first elected as president. And in that, I said that America electing Donald Trump as president was like marrying a one-night stand. Just because they are good for a couple of hours doesn't mean they're going to be good for you. They might look good to you, but they're not good for you. And so I know we've all had those types of relationships, but for some reason, and we know there are plenty of reasons, Donald Trump is turning out to be that that bad relationship that we know that we made a mistake, and now that it's time to get ready to part ways, now it's not going to be that easy. And on the way out the door, it feels like he's going to destroy everything on the way out the door. So that's why it's important for us to make educated, conscious decisions about who we bring into our lives, whether it is for personal or for business reasons. And so a lot of us thought that Donald Trump was going to be a good president because apparently, we thought that he was a good businessman. But he's a good businessman if it's okay with you that he has no problem bribing people, bribing heads of state for his own personal benefit. So if you're okay with somebody bribing somebody, then you might think Donald Trump is a good business person. If you think it's okay to be in business, but you take the money from one account and you use it for the other account, like his campaign funds that was supposed to go to run the campaign, he used some of that money to pay off prostitutes, hush money. So if it's okay for you to commingle funds and do with that money what you claim you weren't doing with that money, you might be still okay with Donald Trump. And if you feel like it's okay to have a merry-go-round of people in your life, it seems like you can't, how when you were in school or even now, you want to try to know the people who are the cabinet leaders in the presidential administration, but it's really hard to keep up with who's there and who's not there because this person is replacing the other person who's replacing the other person. So it's really hard to keep up because there's a merry-go-round of people going in and out. And chances are those people are going in and out because they are, it's okay to build a team. It is. You want to build a team when you're in business because you might have an expertise in one area of your business. And then you're going to need an attorney, you're going to need an accountant, you're going to need a bookkeeper, you're going to need different people to help you to be successful. But the best thing about that is that you're supposed to listen to those people when they give you their expert opinion, but not for Donald Trump. It seems that if anybody gives him an opinion that is against what he feels, then he just replaces them with somebody else who is that will stand up and say what he wants to be said. So when you stand up for him, whether or not he's wrong, he's okay with that If you stand up to him, then he fires you or he replaces you. So if you think it's okay to have a merry-go-round, a constant movement of folk coming in and out of the office of your life, of the administration, you might think, oh, Donald Trump is doing an excellent job. Because you can't now say that it's because the economy is doing great, because it's not. And you can't say, well, it's not his fault, because if he was a better leader and had better people around him and listen to people, then he might be able to handle issues that arise, like the pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic. If you put people in place and you listen to those experts, then that it wouldn't be a problem in how you run your administration, which leads me to this. Why is President Trump so adamant about children, about students going back to school in a few weeks, when he doesn't even pay attention to people who went to school and are experts in their fields? He doesn't pay attention to them. So why would he care if kids go to school? Doesn't make sense. But that's why, when you look at what's going on in America, and despite there still being, despite his shortcomings, despite Donald Trump's lies, despite his inconsistencies and his irresponsibilities, there's still going to be people who vote for him in the 2020 election in November if he doesn't find a way to postpone it, because he is seeing the writing on the wall that his approval rating, and that there are a lot of people who are not planning to vote for him who voted for him the last time. But like I said, there's still going to be millions of people who vote for him, because when they look at Donald Trump and they see how he just says what works for him in the moment, when he lies, or when he tries to bribe people, or when he is on social media tweeting and telling everything. There are people who actually live their lives like Donald Trump lives his life. So they see nothing wrong with being a liar, being a briber, being a shisty business person. They see nothing wrong with that. They're okay with it, because that's how they run their lives. And so it's okay for the president to be that way, because that's how they run their lives. And that's why they don't mind voting for people like that. And so that leads me to my ultimate reason for bringing you here today, is because I think as ADOS, African descendants of slaves, who are in a position right now where we see that for 435 years or more, we've been waiting, or we've been hoping, or we've been protesting for a better opportunity. We've been trying to get Democrats, the Democratic Party, to do right by us. We see that it hasn't worked. And even if you look at Republicans, because there are some Black Republicans, especially during this time when voting is on the minds of 95%, if not 100% of people in America, you see that, sure, we'll get people to pay attention to us. We'll get the Democratic leaders and the Republican Party leaders to pay attention to our plight and talk about if they dare utter, we think Black Lives Matter. Yeah, we see that things like the modern day lynching of George Floyd. We see that the unjustified death of Breonna Taylor. We see all these things going on, and some people will acknowledge that that's not an anomaly. Those things are not the exception. Those things are the norm. We are just seeing it. Even though in this climate, political climate, you will get Republicans and Democrats to acknowledge that after the election, after they've won, after they've gotten our vote, they tend to forget about us. It's like being somebody's one night stand, being somebody's mistress. In the middle of the night, when nobody's looking, they're all for you. They're talking a good game. But as soon as the lights come on, as soon as it's victory, the time to celebrate the victory, as soon as the first lady and the first man show up, then they have no idea who you are. They, put you off. Yeah, I promise. I said I was gonna do right by you, but not yet. And so it's time for Black people in America, African descendants of slaves, to create our own political party. And if you are one of those people, I've been doing some research. If you are in an area where you think that you want help starting the Black political party so that we can be ready for 2024, the 2024 election, I want you to inbox me, email me. I'm going to say contact me about starting your Black political party. And we're mobilizing people across the country, and we are building a strategy, and we want to share that with the people who are really ready to make this happen. So there are a lot of things at stake, but if we keep doing like we have been before, waiting on Republicans to acknowledge us, waiting for Democrats to make a change, not just acknowledge us. We know we are important, and we know that we deserve reparations, and we deserve land, and we deserve so much more because we helped to build this country. Our ancestors helped to build this country through labor, through brain trust, through so much more that we have not been given credit for. Still, we're left like the middle of a donut. We left out when it comes to dividing up the pie. You'll have people who will protest, and of course, because they don't want to see people getting killed on video in the middle of a street. Nobody, I think, wants that except real, raw, racist white people. But everybody else, they know that's wrong. But when it comes to dividing up that pie, when it comes to acknowledging that your ancestors took advantage of slaves and descendants of slaves and built companies and built millions of dollars and built generational wealth because you had free slave labor along the way, when it comes to acknowledging that and dividing the pie, it's going to be hard pressed. We are going to be hard pressed to get people to acknowledge that. And that's why we need to have another strategy. And that reminds me of one more thing, and then I'm going to end this because, I like to hit it and keep it moving. I don't like staying here all day because you got more to do than sit here all day, listen to me, and I got more to do than sit here and talk to you all day. But that reminds me, and a lot of people have spoken on this, Bill Clinton at the Honorable John Lewis's funeral a couple of days ago talked about how John Lewis was a better man. Here's what I took from it. John Lewis was a better man than Stokely Carmichael, who changed his name to Kwame Ture. He said, He put it like, the movement, talking about the civil rights movement, almost went towards a little bit towards too much towards Stokely Carmichael. And here's the thing: Bill Clinton didn't even have enough respect for Stokely. He called him Stokely. You didn't even say his full name. You didn't even call him what he preferred to be called. But it was kind of like, how is a white man going to tell you how your black movement should be, how your black movement should go? Why are we giving so many people so much power and influence in our community when clearly they've shown that they don't care about us, that they only want to take from us, take our votes, take our influence, take our power and use it for them, but they steadily are doing things that hurt us and hurt our community. So for Bill Clinton to say, oh, John Lewis won out and he was because he was nonviolent, where did that get us? 50 years later, here we are still being lynched, modern day lynched in front of everybody, just like it was 50, 60 years ago lynching. So we need to take control of our narrative, take control of what it is that we want and how we're going to do it, and don't let Bill Clinton and nobody else try to dictate how we operate. I'm going to end with this. I know most of us, have seen a Rocky movie, or you've seen a boxing movie before. And if you are too young to remember the Rocky movies, let's go to Creed. You probably seen one of the Creed movies. Adonis Creed is the son of Apollo Creed, that storyline. And so I'm going to leave you with this. Adonis Creed is the representation of Black America, of ADOS, African descendants of slaves. Rocky is the coach. Rocky is representing people who are sympathetic to, they want to support the cause. Adonis's Creed's opponent is racist white people in the racist establishment. And when you're training for the fight, for 400 years, we've been talking about it. We've been training about it. We've been doing what this is how we're going to make it happen. In the movie, they train, they get ready. He said, they get up in the morning, they know what they're going to say, they're talking. And then when they get into the fight and you start fighting, now we are at a cusp of this crossroads of what we should want for African descendants of slaves. Things have happened and it's coming to a boiling point, just like in the movie. Things happen in that ring. And then when it's time to put forth all the effort that you've been fighting for, what do they say? They say, now! It's time, y'all, for us to get our own Black Party right now. Now is the time. So, like I said, I need you to inbox me and let me know if you're on board with what we're trying to do, because we want to be ready so we don't have to get ready, because we're going to stay ready. And come 2024, we're going to have a new president with our new Black political party. And that's all I got to tell you. So, to find out more about the things that I care about, go to the written version of my journal. That's at eurweb.com. Thanks and have a super day.